What is up, fam? Hope this message finds you all well and in great spirits. Before I get started on today's video, just wanted to give a moment of remembrance for my father who passed away this weekend. He was a big influence for me to be a Ford guy. When I was younger, I said, Dad, I was showing him some Cadillacs. He's like, no, we're Ford men. I'm a Ford man. So ever since that, it kind of influenced me to always be a Ford guy. And even though I love all cars, but sadly he did pass away this weekend, and I just want to dedicate, the content and everything I've done to his memory. So appreciate you, Dad, and thank you so much for all you've done. And I appreciate everyone's support and prayers and all that kind of stuff over the years. It means a lot to me, and it's an opportunity for me to really just be thankful for a lot of people who show love and support, and any of those who have lost loved ones recently or are still grieving. Shout out to you, and hope you get through that. All right, well, I wanted to touch base on this video that's going out that was put out by Ford Authority. Really cool. Always appreciate what they do, getting us some sneak shots of what's coming up. And everyone, including Car and Driver, it's all over the place, is calling it the next Shelby GT500. Now, I have it on good authority, and I don't want to always give my sources away, but the reality, and from what I'm understanding, I want to share, this next variant of Mustang will not be called a Shelby GT500. Even though I think it'd be great, but the Shelby and Ford kind of combo isn't doing much so far for the S650 at this point. Now, what does that mean? Because you see all these Shelby Super Snakes and Shelby variants. That is a manufacturer, Shelby American, who is and still owned by the Carroll Shelby family, and what Carroll Shelby used to do. And that's why these are all Shelby American licensed vehicles that are coming out. Like, we're test driving and showcasing the 350, the Super Snake R. Those are all Shelby American Mustangs. And Shelby American's a car manufacturer, so they have to go through the same rigid tests like OEM does, pass emissions, pass safety things like that. So that's what those products are. They're not from Ford Motor Company, but the base vehicles are, but Shelby American turns them up to the next step. And that's what you see. And they are licensed from Shelby American, helps the value. Very small production number, so that holds the value, that it's a true Shelby, and goes from there. But as far as Ford Motor Company, for the S650, we do not see any Shelby variants to date. And this new one that we're teasing and talking about, it will not be called a Shelby GT500. Now, so far, the top two candidates are going to be a Boss or a Dark Horse Boss, combination of the two. And my personal hope is a Cobra, because Ford does own that outright. I have mentioned to any powers that be that I think the best name would probably be a Cobra. I think you put that moniker and that brand on any Mustang, it's going to move the needle. And especially since, quite frankly, the S650 has not performed to the clip at the sales office as expected. And that's a disappointment. And listen, as much as we can hide behind some things, money makes the world go round in that sector, and profit's important. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Mustang is seen as a loss leader because it's more for the brand icon. But, if you're not selling, just to give you some perspective, the Ford F-Series has already sold this year to date about 399,000 units, whereas the Mustang, I would say, last check, a little over 10,000. I wanted to say one thing. I had to do this after I edited the video. I'm going to check, and we're going to monitor as well for the sales, how the sales for the Mustang do now that the tuning is unlocked. So the best sample will be the next 3 months or so. So we'll check out August, September, October, and I'll report those to you to see if that helped move the needle. All right, back to the video. Mustang, a bad performer? No, I think it's a victim of the economy as well as price points and things of that nature. And That's my humble opinion, and you can put in the comments what you think as to why the Mustang isn't selling as well, especially because there's no competitors right now. There's no Camaro, there's no Hellcat. Of course, the Corvette is there, but the Corvette is a different, it's a mid-engine car. It's not a four-seater coupe, and it's a different price point. Especially, you could talk about GTD, but a GTD is very much like a Shelby American product, very low limited, very low run. Yes, I am approved for one, just so you know, for those who have been asking. Mine spec is not scheduled to be built till next summer, and still trying to figure out if that's something we're going to pursue or not, especially with this new Mustang coming out that we see in these clips. And just talk about these clips. You know, the whole thing about the Legend motor is being built and what's happening with this. I'm going to call it the Cobra because I know it's going to be a dark horse boss probably, but because Ford loves a dark horse brand, and I have a dark horse and I love it, but I think it's going to be a dark horse boss. But I'm hoping they call it a Cobra, because I feel and I think that really move the needle and help move. Not that everyone's going to buy a $100,000 Mustang, but to say that there's a Cobra back, it would be fantastic. You know, I could just do all the Venom memes and it'd be so fun, right? But anyways, I believe it's going to be a new variant, and what I'm hearing in these clips, it sounds like a DCT again. It'll probably be an 8-speed dual clutch or a 7-speed again. Now, Ford has to play an interesting game here, because they don't want to step on the toes of the GTD owners who you know, have spent a pretty penny for a combination that we're seeing. And now the GTD is a whole different animal. It's just track focused only, and it is 8-speed dual clutch, it is transaxle, it is 5.2 with the 265 blower. Now what I'm assuming it's going to be another 5.2, and the caveat would be three things. One, I'm hearing strongly that we could be seeing an all-wheel drive hybrid setup as well. So basically a front maybe hybrid motor that allows it to be a kind of all-wheel drive setup. Interesting. But it'll still have the 5.2 supercharged setup, but it'll be all-wheel drive. Now the thing with that is, first you consider weight, because the GT500 already, not the prior GT500 2020 and up, is already a very heavy vehicle. So I'm curious to see how they pull that off, because you're talking about being, you know, definitely Hellcat levels of weight, but then you get the performance of all-wheel drive hybrid 5.2 V8 supercharged. Also, the consideration is, besides being a 7-speed dual clutch, will we get to choose the transmission options like a 10-speed or even a stick shift variant. I think there's a couple options here that Ford can really do. We'll know more and probably most in a few months, which is probably say 4 or 5 months, in January at the Detroit Auto Show in 2026, and that will we get most of our information, and then I'll share everything as I find out from different insiders in and around the industry. But for right now, these clips, what I'm seeing, you know, definitely a new variant, a Mustang S650, either Boss or Cobra. It is not going to be a Shelby GT500, and most likely all-wheel drive is going to be part of that process. Really cool for digs. I tell you what, it would be cool to have a car. You know, one of the things with the last gen GT500, which I have, or any rear-wheel drive Mustang, is, you know, you gotta have a prep surface. You know, you gotta have a big old Mickeys and gotta get good prep and make sure a car hooks. But it'd be nice for it to hook and book from a dig, from light to light. So the power plant options, I feel comfortable, if I had to guess, would be a 5.2 supercharged with all-wheel drive hybrid setup. The caveat to that is weight. That seems pretty heavy. Next would probably be another 5.2 supercharged, but adding a stick shift variant to it. Or a lot of people are begging the question, will we see a 7.3 Godzilla or Megazilla motor in there, and a whole different old school setup. I don't personally see that, but it'd be a cool wish list. And it remains to be seen about the power plant, especially with the Legend information being leaked for the plant. So, let me know what your wish list is below for this new variant of Mustang. Of course, what we're seeing in these clips here, shout out to Ford Authority, link in the description for their original video. Hood, big front fenders, big mouth grill, no rear wide body. So we'll see how that goes. And I think my main thing is, I think Ford, if anybody is watching, my humble opinion, and let the community as well comment, I don't think we should call it a Boss. I think a Cobra would be apt if it's a supercharged V8. I think it's a Boss. It's good if it's a 7.3 NA stick shift setup. Boss is cool. I like that. But if it's a Cobra, I think you got either supercharged V8, or finally, what we've all would be a fantasy, but who knows, maybe finally some kind of EcoBoost V8. What I mean by that, like a twin turbo V8 from the factory. So there's a lot of speculation to see what's happening, because quite frankly, what Corvette has done, their platform has done with the different variants of Z06 being a flat plane to the ZR1 being a twin turbo, all those things, it's time to see if we can push. Ford is motivated to push the envelope to be a little bit out of the box. Not a mid-engine Mustang, obviously, but something like a twin turbo, something like just bring back the 7.3, give us a stick shift variant, and try to keep that price point competitive would be the challenge. Let me know what you think, comment below. Again, thank you so much for the support and kind words. I have more content coming from the Shelby American SAC 50 years event in Sonoma, California. I appreciate their hospitality. I had to leave early, obviously, because of my family situation. But again, RIP Dad, rest in power, and God bless everyone. And it never ends. Peace.